Hey, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to my 206th episode of my reading journey. Hope you're all doing great, and we continue with the fourth part of the Duplicity of Hargraves. So, let's do this. I will ask you to leave the room, sir. The actor appeared to be slightly bewildered, and seemed hardly to take in the full meaning of the old gentleman's words. "I'm truly sorry you took offense," he said regretfully. "Up here, we don't look at things just as you people do. I know men who would buy out half the house to have their personality put on the stage so the public would recognize it." "They are not from Alabama, sir," said the mayor half, half, haughtily. Haughtily. "Perhaps not. I have a pretty good memory, Mayor. Let me quote a few lines from your book in response to a toast at the banquet given in Milledgeville, Milledgeville, I believe you uttered and intend to have printed these words: 'The northern man is utterly without sentiment or are warm, except in so far as the feelings may be turned to his own commercial profit. He will suffer without resentment, any imputation cast upon the honor of himself or his charity. He gives with a liberal hand, but it must be heralded with the trumpet and chronicled in brass.' Do you think that picture is far fairer than the one you saw of Colonel Calhoun last night?" "The description," said the mayor, frowning, "is not without grounds. Some exact latitude must be allowed in public speaking and in public acting," replied Hargraves. "That is not the point. That is not the point," persisted the mayor, unrelenting. "It was a personal caricature. I positively decline to overtalk it, sir." "Mayor Talbot," said Hargraves, with a winning smile, "I wish you would understand me. I want you to know that I never dreamed of insulting you. In my profession, all life belongs to me. I take what I want and what I can and return it over the footlights. Now, if you will, let's let it go at that. We've been pretty good friends for some months, and I'm going to take the risk of offending you again. I know you're hard up for money. Never mind how I found out. A boarding house is no place to keep such matters secret, and I want you to let me help you let me help you out of the pinch. Pinch. I've been there often enough myself. I've been getting a fair salary all this season, and I've saved some money. You're welcome to a couple hundred, or even more, until you get—" "Stop," commanded the mayor, with his arm outstretched. It seemed that my book didn't lie, after all. "You think your money salve. will heal all the hurts of honor. Under no some circumstances would I accept a loan from a casual acquaintance. And as to you, sir, I would starve before I would consider you insulting offer of a financial adjustment of the circumstances we have discussed. I beg to repeat my request relative to your quitting the apartment. Hargraves took his departure without another word. He also left the house the same day, moving as Mrs. Wardeman explained at a supper table nearer the vicinity of the downtown theater, where Magnolia Flower was booked for a week's run. Critical was the situation with Mayor Talbot and Miss Linda. There was no one in Washington to whom the mayor's scruples allowed him to apply for a loan. Miss Linda wrote a letter to Uncle Ralph, but it was doubtful whether dead relatives' constricted affairs would permit him to furnish help. The mayor was forced to make an apologetic address to Mrs. Wardeman regarding the delayed payment for board, referring to delinquent rentals and delayed remittances, delayed remittances, in a rather confused strain. Deliverance came from an entirely unexpected source. Late one afternoon, the door maid came up and announced an old colored man who wanted to see Mayor Talbot. The mayor asked that he be sent up to his study soon. An old darky appeared in the doorway with his hat in hand, bowing and scrubbing with one clumsy foot. He was quite decently dressed in a baggy suit of black. His big, coarse shoes shone with a metallic luster, suggestive of stove polish. His blushly wool was gray, almost white. After middle life, it is difficult to estimate the age of a Negro. This one might have seen as many years as Mayor Talbot. I be bound you don't know me, Miss Pendleton, were his first words. The mayor rose and came forward at the old familiar style of address. It was one of the old plantation darkies, without a doubt, but they had been widely scattered, and he could not recall the voice of face. I don't believe I do, he said kindly, unless you will assist my memory. Don't you remember Candice Moose Mars Pendleton was migrated immediately after the war? Wait a moment, said the mayor, rubbing his forehead with the tips on his fingers. He allowed to recall everything connected with those beloved days. St. Mose, he reflected, you worked among the horses, breaking the colts. Yes, I remember now. And I remember now. After the surrender, you took the name off. Don't prompt me, Mitchell, and went to the west, to Nebraska. Yes, sir. The old man's face stretched with a delighted grin. That's him, that's it. Nebraska. That me, Mose Mitchell. Old Uncle Moose Mitchell. They call me now. Old Mars, your pa, give me a puff of them mole coats when I left for to shop me going with. You remember them calls, Mars Pendleton? I don't seem to recall the call, said the mayor. You know I was married the first year of the war and living at the old Follinsby place. But sit down, Uncle Mose. I'm glad to see you. I hope you have prospered. Uncle Moose took a chair and laid his hard hat carefully on the floor beside it. Yes, sir. Of late I done Mounty famous. When I first got to Nebraska, they folks come all round me to see them mule colts. They ain't see no mules like them in Nebraska. I sold the mules for $300. Yes, sir, 300. Then I opened a blacksmith shop, sir, and made some money and bought some land. And my old woman done raised up 7 children, and all done well, except 2 of them were died. 4 years ago, a railroad come along and shattered a town slam against my lawn. And, sir, Mars Pendleton, Alchemist, I'm worth $11,000 in money, property, and land. I'm glad to hear it, said the mayor heartily. Glad to hear it. And that little baby of your Mars Pendleton, one what you name Miss Liddy, I'll be bound that little dad done growed up. Tell nobody without know her. The mayor stepped to the door and called, Linda, dear, will you come? Miss Linda, looking quite grown up and a little worried, came in from her room. All right, guys. We're gonna figure out what's happened next in the next episode of my reading journey tomorrow. Stay tuned and thank you for joining. Bye.